The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to our webinar today on why follow-up is everything. And it is. You can generate all the leads you want, but if you mess those leads up, if you don't do a good job of following them up, then it's all for naught. And most of us on the webinar here today would agree that when we speak to a buyer or seller that's ready to act today, hey, you really don't need a great follow-up system. You know, if you generate a lead today from a buyer and they're ready to buy right now this week, you can have a poor follow-up system, doesn't matter, no follow-up system at all, and you're probably not going to drop the ball with somebody that wants to act right now. Same thing with a seller. Seller calls you to come list me, or they're interviewing agents right now. If they're ready to act now, that's not the problem. Most of us are pretty darn good in those situations, but let's be real honest. 80% of the buyers and seller leads that we talk to don't fall into that category. Okay? That's the problem. That's the Achilles heel that we have. But on the flip side, that's the opportunity that we all have is to solve that problem, because we know that, most of our competitors do not have an effective automatic reverse prospecting system. They don't have a lead generation system that looks like ours at all. And even fewer realtors out there today have an awesome follow-up system for longer-term prospects. So we're going to review what you all should be doing, the very basic follow-up system that you should all be using. Okay, and then we're going to go a little deeper on our call here today, and we're going to talk about what you can do with your follow-up to take it to the next level. And we're going to talk today about sellers. With seller prospects, what is it that you can do to really plug the holes in your business and make sure that your prospects never forget about you? Okay, you're going to build this top-of-mind awareness. So even if you mess up and you forget to call them when you're supposed to call them, hopefully doing what I suggest here today on the webinar, at least they'll call you when they're ready. We're not going to count on it, but that's what we're going to do. Nothing that I talk about today, by the way, is going to replace those individual calls that you make. Everything we talk about here today is going to supplement the one-on-one, the personal phone calls that you're making with the universal callback script. So on your screen right now, you should see the easy button. And it is true that generating leads is the easy part, okay, with this system. And if it's not true for you, you want to talk to your coach. Okay, you want to talk to your coach and say, look, I'm struggling with lead generation. We want everyone to make sure that you've got the right landing pages, because you can come on the ad clinic calls with James and I. You can run all the ads properly, but if the ads are driving to the incorrect landing pages, the landing pages are not proper, then you're going to get lots of hits. Okay, you're going to get lots of hits, but you're not going to generate leads. So you may come to the false conclusion that the marketing isn't working when the marketing's kicking butt. The marketing's driving lots of traffic to your landing pages, but the landing pages have been messed with. Okay, so we want to make sure that everybody's got the right landing pages. And I went through every single landing page at YorkRegionHomeInfo.com. I went through everything again yesterday just to make sure that everything is up to date and it's the proper version. Okay, so if you're not generating leads, that's the first thing to look at, is go to your control panel and ask yourself this: am I getting hits? Am I getting visits to my landing page? If you're getting lots of visits to your landing page but no leads, you've got a landing page issue. Okay, but that's what your personal one-on-one coach can help you with, is help you identify what's going wrong with your lead generation. But I'm going to say it again, lead generation is the easy part. Okay, and that was my promise to you when we first met, is if you do everything I suggest you do, you follow everything perfectly, you're going to generate an abundance of leads. Generating an abundance of leads is important. Why? Because you and I want to have the luxury of choice. We want to be able to blow off the buyers and sellers that don't answer our questions properly. So if they're not motivated, or their timing isn't now, or, they're committed to Uncle Joe the realtor, we want to have the luxury to be able to say, thanks and have a nice day. We want to only spend time with prospects that are predisposed to working with us, Okay, they're ready to act now, and they're super motivated. Now, that doesn't mean that all of them are going to act now. Okay, so it's not, everyone has to understand that if the seller is not ready to list today, let's say it's 6 months down the road, it doesn't mean it's a bad lead. Well, let me say this. It might mean it's a bad lead for you if you don't have an awesome follow-up system, because you may know that you don't do a good job following up longer-term prospects. So, in fact, when you talk to a buyer or seller that's 3 months or 6 months out, you might be thinking, oh, boy, it's a pretty good chance that that prospect's going to slip between the cracks. So we're going to plug the holes in your business today and show you how to convert the majority of your leads, which are buyers and sellers that represent future business down the road, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, even a year down the road. That's the big opportunity, because that describes most of the people that you talk to every single day. So to begin with, let's review the basic follow-up system. Step number one is you've got to have a contact management system. Okay, you've got to have a CRM. I don't really care which one you have. The two biggies in the real estate industry, of course, are Agent Office and Top Producer. I personally use Agent Office. I prefer it. But if you're using Top Producer and you love it, no need to switch. If you're using something else and you love it, no need to switch. The best contact management system to use is the one you're actually going to use. Okay, but you absolutely have to have a contact management system. No more recipe cards, no more writing stuff down on a piece of paper with the intent that you're going to call them back. These leads need to be entered into your contact management system right away, ASAP. How many of you experienced this before? You write something down on a scrap of paper, name, phone number, with good intention, right, that you're going to enter that in your contact management system, and then you lose the piece of paper, whatever happens, and you lose the lead, you lose the business and the commission check. Okay, step number two is you need to respond and send this information out as soon as possible. Okay, now, with the special reports, if it's an online lead, no problem there, right? Because via an autoresponder, if the seller, for example, requests the costly home seller mistakes, they fill in all their information on the Success website, and boom, immediately they get to see the report. Okay, so there's no problem there. But what if it's a hot list of properties? What if they want a list of bank foreclosures? What if they want a list of distressed sales? Well, you've got to send that information out, right? And you need to send it out in a timely fashion, like you need to send it out now. We live in a world of immediate gratification. If it's a hotline lead, obviously you don't have their email address, right? If it's a hotline lead, the system's going to capture their phone number. They leave their name and their address, because the whole premise there is you're going to mail them the information. When you mail out the information, anything that you're mailing, by the way, should be in a plain white number 10 envelope like this, hand addressed with a live stamp. Okay, if you're with Remax, don't put it in a Remax or a Keller Williams or Royal LePage. Don't do that, okay, because people sort their mail over the garbage can. It's true, right? You sort your mail over the garbage can, and people only open what they want to open or what they must open. And if this looks like it's just some, solicitation from a realtor, they might not even open it. They might just throw your information in the garbage can. So you want your mail, as a rule, to look like a letter from Aunt Lucy. Okay? Make it look like mail that would come from a friend. Okay, step number three. Now, you all know this, right? Use the universal callback script and just use it exactly the way it is. Don't ad lib. Even if you have to read it in the beginning, I'd rather you read it, even if it kind of sounds like you're reading, rather than winging it or getting off track. But this script will make you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're smart enough to just follow it. Now, we help you with this script every Thursday. James McDonald does the role play call, just like he'll do tomorrow. And he helps you handle the common objections. He breaks down the psychology of this script so you understand exactly why the script is set up the way it is, why we're asking the questions that we're asking, and what you should be doing with the answers, okay, and how to articulate the perfect offer for buyers and sellers. So make sure that you're recording your calls. You can get a little recording device like Radio Shack or The Source here in Canada, and you can record yourself making the calls. Very helpful to listen back on you making the calls, but do make sure that you come on these role play calls every single Thursday. Okay, for those of you that called in a bit late, hang in there with me. I'm just reviewing the basic system, the stuff you should already be doing. And I sure hope none of this is new to you, because this is what you should be doing right now. But in a few minutes, we're going to get into the advanced follow-up strategies that I want you all to be using in addition to the basic follow-up. Okay, step number 4. You've used the universal callback script. At the end of the script, you should now know the motivation and the timing of the prospect you're speaking to. This will allow you now to slot that prospect into one of 3 categories. They either represent now business, which means you're going to articulate the buyer offer or the seller offer in hopes of getting face-to-face with people that are ready to buy or sell now. Or they represent future business, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because that's your biggest opportunity. That's the 80% right there. Or they represent no business at all. They're not that motivated. The timing is, 3 years in the future. Uncle Joe is a realtor, or they're just plain rude. You don't have to worry about those guys anymore. So make sure that you're doing a good job of understanding who the prospect is. Are they category 1, 2, or 3? Are you making an offer to them? Are you continuing to follow up with them? Or no action required because you've decided this person is not a good fit with you? Okay, now, what messes us up is what I call the unpredictability of prospect timing. When we're trying to determine their time frame, sometimes they lie, but sometimes they don't lie. Things just change in their life. Okay, so sometimes they're very sincere in their what they tell us on the phone, but things in their life actually change. And let's say they were being transferred. Something changes in their life, and they tell you, well, I'm not going to be listing my home for 6 months, but the company calls them up a week or 2 after your conversation and moves up that date. So because sometimes they lie, because they want to put us off, they see us as a salesperson, and sometimes life changes for them, something changes in their life, and their timing moves up, the safe bet is to call them in half the time they indicate. Okay, so that's sort of our golden rule, is because even if you ask all the questions perfectly in the universal callback script, still we have to deal with this unpredictability of prospect timing. The solution is call them all back at half the time they indicate. So the guy says, well, I'm not going to be transferred for 6 months. We're not going to be listing our home for 6 months. Call them back in 3 months anyway. Why? Because you and I would rather be there too early than too late. Okay, and make sure you have a newsletter. Send out the Market Watch newsletter. Okay, and here's the Market Watch newsletter. You should have a newsletter that looks like this. Okay, you can get copies of this off of the coaching website, and all of you know you should have a newsletter, right? That's not a new idea. You've heard me suggest this before to you in the past, but still, you don't have one. So let's talk about the issue. Why don't you have a newsletter when you know you should have a newsletter? Okay, and if you have a newsletter, by the way, and it's a good newsletter, if you copy mine, it will be a good one, and you call around the newsletter, you'll get 3 times the response. Does everybody understand that? If you've got good direct mail and you call around the direct mail pieces, you'll convert at 3 times the rate. Now, let's talk about all of the reasons why some of you don't have a newsletter, okay? So A, you're lazy, okay? Some of us were lazy. I'm lazy. We're all lazy to a degree. But you don't have to do anything. You don't have to create the content. You don't have to write anything. I've already written all the newsletters. So you can be really lazy and still send out a newsletter because we're not asking you to create the newsletter. The templates have already been created. Okay, reason number B, let's say you're not lazy or you are lazy, doesn't matter. Another reason that you might not have a newsletter is it's going to cost me money. No, it's not, because you're going to get your affiliates to advertise in your newsletter just like I did. See, Jack Lorraine is the real estate attorney. Bill Eves is the mortgage broker. And they pay me an amount that covers the cost of sending out the newsletter. Now, why would they want to do that? Well, my lawyer, my real estate attorney, my lawyer and my mortgage broker are smart enough to understand that the only people in my database and the only people in your database are people that have responded to our advertising. They've raised their hands and they've said, I want a list of foreclosures, or I want a list of fixer-upper properties, or I want I want to get information on what homes are selling for in my area. They're smart enough to understand that, who the hell would request that kind of information? What kind of a prospect would request that kind of information unless they were sort of in the market to buy or sell? Now, even if the prospect does not do business with me, they don't buy a home with me, they don't list their home with me, they can still do business with my real estate lawyer or my mortgage broker. So understand that the list that you're building, using my system has massive value. Do not underestimate that. And you can sell access to your list to your affiliates just like I did. Now, the third reason you might have for not doing this is you say, okay, Craig, that's all good. You've done all the work. You've created the newsletters. You've created 12 issues, right? 12 issues. So month 1, month 2, month 3, you got 12 issues. They're all done for you. And I'm explaining to you that you don't have to pay for anything because your affiliates are. You might be thinking, well, I'm still too lazy to get my affiliate to do this. So I've even done that work. I've written the letter for you. This is the letter that you're going to send out to your mortgage brokers, your home inspectors, your real estate attorneys, your title companies, whoever it is that you think would be a good fit. Now, before I read the letter here to you, let me say this. Isn't it kind of crazy that in our business, we spend all this money marketing and advertising to procure clients? We're doing all of this work and spending all this money to build our business, to attract buyers and sellers to us. And then we hand over these buyers and sellers to our mortgage broker, our title company, our real estate lawyer. We hand over all these leads at no cost at all. We just give them to them. Now, I know your mortgage broker, might give you some donuts every once in a while, but it's silly. So is it fair to ask our affiliates to contribute somewhat, somehow, some way to help you grow your business? And the answer is, of course. So here's the letter. Dear mortgage broker, how would you like to have a steady flow of highly qualified customers calling you week in and week out to ask you to do business with them? Well, I'm writing this letter to you today so that I can share something with you. The secret to my success in business is that, number one, I never cold call prospects. Instead, all my prospects call me to ask me to do business with them. Number two, I give every single one of my clients superior over-the-top service, providing them with unique benefits that they can't get from anyone else. Number three, I'm able to refer my clients to many related businesses like yours, that can provide them with products and services that relate to their recent or impending home purchase. It goes on to make this pitch to them, and it's a 2-page letter. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because you can find this on the coaching website. Okay, we're presenting the opportunity. You can see in the middle of page 2, it says, put an ad in my monthly newsletter to help cover the costs of typesetting, printing, and postage. Now, of course, I don't expect you to invest as much as I do. Your cost would be, now, if you don't ask, you don't get. So, you might want to approach your mortgage broker and you might want to say this. This is what I did. I said, Bill, what do you think my business is worth to you in dollars? I do X amount of transactions and you get X amount of buyer transactions every month or every week from us. What do you think my business is worth to you? And the number that they'll tell you is generally bigger than the amount you would have asked for. Okay, you're not going to ask for the whole amount, but if you send them $20,000 of business every year or $30,000 of business every year, would it not be fair to ask for $500 or $1,000 in return so you can do a better job of following up with your prospects so you can do even more business, which benefits the mortgage broker and all your affiliates? So it's true, right? When your business grows, their business grows. So don't be afraid to ask. Okay, use the letter. Take advantage of these newsletters that I've written. Now, why are these newsletters great? Because they're not like anyone else's newsletters. Take a look at every other real estate newsletter out there. It's full of crap. Honestly, full of recipe, how to make an apple pie. My newsletter is full of information that will attract them. How do we know that? Because it's the kind of information that caused them to raise their hand in the first place. So what makes sense is in the newsletter to offer them more of what we know they're already interested in, because that's how they got into your database in the first place. You all get newsletters, right, from financial planners and whoever. And if they're junk, you don't read them. Why? Because we're busy. We get too much junk mail. So there's no use sending out a junky newsletter because it'll get tossed in the garbage with the coffee grinds. So I've already done the work of creating the newsletter for you. I've done the work. All you've got to do is call BXL Printing. They'll print it up for you. Give them the name of your sponsors. Make sure your sponsors covers the cost to print and mail the thing. And sit back and collect the money. It's really that easy. Now, I could end the call right there. I could end the webinar right now because most of you have not done this. And then we complain, well, I'm not doing a very good job with my longer-term prospects. How easy is this to have a newsletter? Some of you might be saying, well, Craig, you know what? You've kind of laid it out here. It's pretty darn easy to have a newsletter, a really good newsletter at no cost because you've done all the work. But it's, of course, it's always easier not to have one, right? So today, I wanted to make sure that you understand the opportunity that you all have. You're paying for access to the newsletter. Use the newsletter and leverage off of this database you have. Compel your affiliates to advertise in the thing. It won't cost you a penny, but it'll make you a hell of a lot of money. How do I know it? Because I did it. Now, all the materials discussed are available on the coaching site. Okay, so you have access to all this stuff. It's all there. These are the resources that are sitting there waiting for you. You don't have to have a creative bone in your body. You've heard us say this before. If you can copy, you can succeed. So now we're going to crank it up. We're going to go to the next level. We're going to go to the next level because I want to add on another layer to your follow-up. So I'm going to assume that all of you see the value in having a newsletter. I'm going to assume that all of you attend the Thursday calls and you understand the importance of using the universal callback script and mastering those personal one-on-one phone calls. So let's make that assumption. You're good at making the calls. You know what you're saying. You know exactly what to say, how to say it, and you're sending the newsletter out. But still, we're going to take it to the next level because here is a big realization I came to. Even doing everything that I just described to you, I realized that some prospects are way better than other prospects. Okay, not all future prospects are the same. So stay with me here because I want you all to get this. So remember earlier I said, I get on the phone with the universal callback script. I phone the prospect back, and I slot them into three categories, right? They're either ready to act now, no problem there. We book a buyer or listing appointment. Or they're rude, they're not motivated, they're going to use Uncle Joe. Okay, we're not going to work with them at all. But the big category is the prospects that represent future prospects. But some of them are better, are way, way better than others. I call them golden prospects. And let me explain exactly what I mean. Okay, not all future prospects are the same. So let's say that I follow up with one prospect and they say, yeah, we think we might do something later in the year. We're not sure. And then I talk to the next prospect, and the next prospect is very upfront and vocal and specific about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and when they're doing it. So the next phone call goes like this. Craig, we're actually going through a divorce, and we're going to be listing our home in about 4 months. Or we bought new construction. The new home, the new construction closes in 6 months, so we're thinking of listing our home in about 3 months. Okay, or we've been transferred, and we need to get our home on the market in the next 60 days. The point I want to make here is you and I can spend a whole lot more time, money, and energy on the prospects that are very specific about their motivation and their timing, because not all of them are. I call these golden prospects. So if I've got someone on the phone that is telling me exactly when they're moving and why they're moving, I can afford to spend a bit more time, money, and energy on them. And I wasn't doing that because everyone said that was a big mistake I was making. I was treating all the future prospects the same. I was lumping them all into the same pile. So the seller that said, maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure, we might do something next year, was getting the same, that person was getting the same treatment as the guy that says, I'm absolutely going to list my house in 60 days. And I came to the realization, well, that was kind of dumb. So not all future prospects are the same. Okay, so you know who your golden prospects are. So early in my career, it cost me a lot of money because I treated them all the same, like a dummy. So you and I, we can afford to spend a bit more time and money on the golden prospects. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The purpose of my ARPS, what does ARP stand for? Automatic Reverse Prospecting System, is to get prospects to tell me that they're moving. Right? That's the idea behind the Craig Proctor style of advertising, is to get prospects to come to you. You're not going to them. They're attracted to your message. We're creating a perception amongst prospects that the prospects are chasing us. We're not chasing them. But the purpose of my goal plan system is to get them to tell me when. This is a big idea. Everybody get that? The purpose of your marketing is to get prospects to tell you that they're moving, but the purpose of my goal plan system is to get them to tell us exactly when. So, is it true? Can we do this? On the strength of our marketing, can we get the prospects to tell us when they're going to be taking action? Well, hear me out. We're going to give prospects information that's very specific and detailed. This is information that would only interest people that are actually thinking about selling their home. Now remember, today we're only talking about sellers. Number two, we're going to increase the frequency of our contacts, the frequency of our mailings to them, so there's a greater chance of being top of mind when they're ready to list. Or if I flip that around, there's no chance that these people are going to forget about us, because we're going to be in their face with our phone calls and our valuable information. Not to be a nuisance, but we're going to create reciprocity. If you were thinking of selling your home and I'm sending you all this valuable information, if you really thought it was helpful and valuable and I wasn't being a nuisance, if I did this the right way, you would think highly of me. I've created reciprocity. I'm nice to you. You kind of want to be nice to me. And I'm building top-of-mind awareness. It's not likely you're going to forget about me. Now, let me repeat this again. While you're implementing the goal plan system that I am going to lay out for you here today, and remember, everything is on the coaching website. If you can copy it, you will be successful. But as you're doing this, in capital letters here, it says you should still be making the phone calls. Now, the reason it's in capitals, you should still be making the phone calls. I've been doing this a long time, and I don't want you to think that just because you have a newsletter and just because you roll out my gold plan system that somehow you don't have to make the calls anymore. This is what you're going to do in addition to making the calls. Okay, the gold plan mailings are going to make the calls that you make more effective. It's going to add to the effectiveness of those phone calls. Okay, but nothing's designed here to replace the phone calls. So let's have a look at these letters. There's 12 direct response letters. I've written these myself. I've tested them for years in my own business. I've perfected them. And now all you got to do is download them from the coaching site. Now you can customize them for your own personal use. And these letters are found in the file library. They're in two different places. Okay, so don't do it now. But when the webinar is over, you can go to the coaching website and you can download from either the file library or under attachments all the gold plan letters. Now, here's the activity plan. This, by the way, is on the coaching website as well. When you download the letters, you'll also download the activity plan. Some of you might be asking, Craig, what is an activity plan? Well, this is the plan that you program into your contact management system. Okay, so we're not going to discuss this right now, but it basically tells you when the letters go out. Okay, so the letters are going, just notice, the letters are going out every 7 days. Gold Plan 1 is a seller that's going to, they're telling you up front, they're going to do something in 3 months or less. So you'll notice we're sending them a letter every 7 days. They're going to get one of our Gold Plan letters. Now, Gold Plan number 2, same stuff. We're sending the same letters out, but you'll notice that the letters are spaced out every 2 weeks. Okay, so Gold Plan 2 is the activity plan for sellers that are going to be moving in about 6 months. Okay, so if there's 6 months out, you're going to activate Gold Plan 2. Why? If there's 6 months out, we're not going to hammer them with a letter every single week, right? We don't want to become a nuisance. If they're 3 months out, we don't want to mail out a letter every 2 weeks. We don't want them to forget about us. But if they're 6 months out, they're going to get one of these mailings every other week. Okay, so everybody get that? There's 2 different plans. You'll decide what plan you're going to activate based on the timing of the prospect. Okay, so we just discussed this. Gold Plan 1 is for sellers that intend to list in 3 months or less. You're going to activate Gold Plan 2 in your contact management system for sellers that intend to move in 6 months or less. Now, let's have a look at these letters one by one. Now, this is going to go on your letterhead. And you might be saying, well, Craig, earlier you said don't put this stuff on my letterhead. Now you're saying mail it out with my letterhead. Well, so which is it? Now, remember, when we're mailing the information out, the special reports to them, the hot list of properties, when we're mailing the stuff out initially, we're still trying to fly underneath their advertising radar. But after you speak with them, after you've generated the lead and you speak with them the first time, everything from that point on should be branded with you and your USPs. So this first letter that they get offers them the moving checklist. Okay, it says there's many small details you have to take care of when you're planning to make a move. As a result, much time and anxiety is spent inventing your to-do list to ensure your move comes off without a hitch. Well, we've helped hundreds. Now, if that's not true for you, you might say dozens. These are in words, so you can just change the letters. We've helped dozens of home sellers, homeowners, with the sale of their home. So we have lots of experience with the process. we would like to share some helpful tips with you in the form of the attached moving checklist, which itemizes the recommended steps to take and when you should be taking them. Why not put this up on your refrigerator today to help you keep focused and organized? Now, we've also enclosed a file folder with the checklist on it. Over the next few months, we're going to be sending you more information that we think will be useful in your situation. You can use this moving checklist file folder to keep all of the information and your own personal notes in one place. Of course, it's information that's free, obligates you to nothing, but it's our hope, however, that you'll find the information we send helpful as you progress towards your moving plans. If we can be an assistance, give us a call, and our number, blah, blah, blah. Now, that's the letter that goes out. Now, I'm going to show you the moving checklist. The moving checklist that they get. Now, remember, what did the letter say? We're giving them the moving checklist in two forms. On the left is a file folder. This is a little sticker that my printer, BXL Printers, she made this little sticker. I just stick it on a normal, 8 by 11 file folder that you can get anywhere. And to the right of it is a magnetic sticker that goes on the refrigerator. So the idea is this. We've identified that this is a future seller. Okay, you'll see that we have two of these. One is for 3 months out, the other one's for 6 months out. Can everybody see that? So as we send additional information, as we send the letters and the information that you're about to see, we're saying to the seller, put this information in the file folder. You'll be able to organize all of your moving information in one place. Now, also, they're going to have this magnetic sticker on the refrigerator. Now, I want you to consider this. What have we accomplished here? Do you see what I've done? I'm telling them what they should be thinking about and what they should be doing out 6 months before they list their home for sale, 3 months before, 6 weeks, 2 weeks out. And by the information that they ask of me, I can tell what their timing is. It helps me determine where they're at in the process. So 6 months before you list your home, determine what inexpensive fix-ups you should do on your home to prepare to sell it for top dollar. And commence these changes. Order your free How to Price and Prepare Your Home for Sale video. And they're going to call into our special number. Now, when I see that request, I know, okay, here's somebody that's active. 3 months before you list your home for sale, review market conditions and find out how much homes in your area are selling for. Order a free computerized report of neighborhood home sales and current listings. 6 weeks before you list your home for sale, order our free, no obligation special report on utilities. When you're selling your home, you're going to have to, call all the utilities, water, cable, telephone, etc. So we're going to send them a free report on who they should be contacting and the phone numbers, the contact information for all the different utility companies. How about this? Obtain quotes from moving companies, and we're going to send you a list of all the moving companies in the area. 2 weeks before you list your home for sale, make an appointment with your name for a free no obligation evaluation. So that's the first mailing, is they get the moving checklist. They're encouraged to stick it on the refrigerator, and the file folder is going to be used to send everything else that we're about to send them. Okay, so the rest of the mailings, there's 12 mailings, okay, that you'll send every week or every other week. 12 mailings every week covers a 3-month period. Everybody get that? 12 mailings sent every other week will encompass a 6-month period. So you're going to decide, are they doing something in 3 months or less, or 6 months and less, and you're going to activate Gold Plan 1 or Gold Plan 2. Now, all of the information that we're about to send, that you're about to send in mailings 2 through 12, really come from two different categories. I call these information on external suppliers. So that would, an example of that would be the list of utility companies with phone numbers, the list of reputable moving companies, a list of lawyers or title companies. This is all information that we're going to provide to the sellers. Then we have what we call internal information, internal services. This is stuff that you and I aren't going to be able to get right off of MLS. So we can easily send them a list of homes that have sold in the area and current listings. We can give them a free computerized over-the-phone home evaluation. And again, these reports don't have to look fancy. Just have one of your team members do a little bit of research, gather all this information from MLS, throw on a cover letter, and you're ready to go. Now, keep in mind, this is way better than what your competitors are doing. We know that, right? Because your competitors aren't doing any of this. Your competitors don't have a long-term follow-up system. And that's good because this is how we're going to beat out all of your competitors. Let's have a look at our next mailing. This is letter number 2. Letter number 2, we're going to send them a free special report on 27 tips to price and prepare their home for sale. Okay, so we're going to give them a special report on how to price and prepare their home for sale, and we're going to offer them a free DVD on how to do the same. So they're going to get the free report in the mail, but to get the DVD, and you can order these DVDs, by the way, through our AV guy, Lifestyle Media. Okay, you can order the DVD through Lifestyle Media, and I don't know what they cost, but they're, maybe a couple bucks each, and they're generic. And you're going to hold back the DVD. If they want the DVD, then they're going to have to contact you to get it. Okay, can everybody see that? Now, you could mail them the DVD if you wanted to, along with this special report, but, you may want to hold that back. Okay, so let's have a look at the next letter. Okay, letter number 3. Letter number 3 offers information on what homes in the neighborhood have sold for. Okay, you're not giving them the information. You're offering to send it to them. And see, to get the information, they've got to call your special number. This is going to be your AMS hotline number. So that's my AMS hotline number. They enter 8065, and they hear the script for the area home sales report, and they leave their contact information. Okay, so all of you can do that. Very easy. And get that information right off of MLS. Mailing number 4. Mailing number 4, I'm sending out a postcard. Oh, hold it. This goes in that mailing. A postcard for find out what homes in your neighborhood are selling for. That's the offer we're making. And here's offer number 4. Okay, mailing 4, letter 4, is an offer for $500 off your real estate commission. Now, to get the certificate for the $500 off their commission, they have to call your 800 number and request the certificate. We're not just giving them the certificate. They have to jump through the hoops because you and I want to know that they're calling in to get this. This is someone you and I need to be paying attention to. Letter number 5 offers a report on questions to ask before you hire an agent. But again, they've got to call your special 800 number to request that free special report. Mailing number 6 offers them a free quick over-the-phone home evaluation, and we include a postcard, a certificate for that that over-the-phone home evaluation. Mailing number 7 offers them the utilities report. So let me read this one to you. It says, you may still have several weeks away from selling your home. There are several small details you can take care of now that will free you up for the very busy time you have ahead of you. One of these is the time-consuming task of contacting all the utility services, telephone, cable, gas, hydro, etc. To help you save time, we've compiled an extensive list of anyone and everyone you might need to contact regarding your utilities once you sell. Why not call to get a copy of this free list so you can file it away for when you need it? To order this useful computerized listing of utility companies, call and then our 800 number. Now, when they call you and they request that information, don't you think that would be a pretty darn good lead to follow up with? We're creating reciprocity. Okay, we're being nice to them. We're sending them helpful information. So naturally, they kind of want to be nice to us. Okay, it certainly helps. It builds top-of-mind consciousness. They're not going to forget about us. Even if you mess up and you don't call them at the right time, there's a pretty good chance they might call you because you've been doing a great job of helping them out during this process. But we're almost done here. Let's look at mailing letter number 8, and then we'll take some questions here. Okay, letter number 8. Letter number 8, we're offering a magnetic fridge magnet with our USP on. Your home sold in under 120 days, we'll buy it. And then I'm sending them out a bunch of client testimonials. Okay, so I'm sure you have some testimonials. So, this is just a bunch of pictures of my clients and testimonials. You could send out a DVD if you've got video testimonials, but that's what we're trying to do here is give social proof to what you do really works well. Mailing number 9. Okay, mailing 9, letter number 9, we're offering them a free special report on legal mistakes. Okay, so we're going to offer them a free report on how to avoid legal mistakes. That's going to go with the mailing, but also you'll notice at the bottom here they can request a copy of all the real estate attorneys, all the real estate lawyers. We're going to offer them a list of all the real estate lawyers in the area that they can choose from. But again, they've got to contact us, call our AMS recorded hotline number, enter 8086. They have to contact me, leave their information to get it. Now, again, don't you think this would be a good person for you and I to follow up with? You've got the perfect excuse, right? All the way along, you've got the perfect excuse. Hi, Mr. Smith. It's Craig Proctor with ABC Realty. Just wanted to let you know I received your request for the list of moving companies or for the list of real estate attorneys. And I wanted to let you know we've sent that information out to you. I remember talking to you a couple months ago and just wondered how things were going with your moving plans. And then you just go right through the universal callback script. It's that easy. Okay, we're almost done here. Mailing number 10, how to guarantee your home sells when you put it on the market. So I'm talking about my guaranteed sale program. Now, I'm offering a report on how to guarantee you don't get stuck owning 2 homes. This is the special report that describes how the guaranteed sale program will work. Now, you don't have to send this letter out. Obviously, if you don't offer a guaranteed sale report, you can take this mailing out. Mailing number 10 can go out the door. You can replace it with something else. But the important point I want to make here is you should have some kind of USP that you're offering. So maybe your USP will be, I guarantee to get you an offer on your home in 60 days or less. Now, the condition is that they have to take your opinion of price. They have to take your advice on price. They can't, not listen to you and then overprice their home and then expect you to guarantee that. So I want you, if you don't have a guaranteed sale program, I want you to replace this letter with your USP. And we've talked a lot in this program about the importance of you having some type of performance guarantee. Well, here's where it's going to go in letter number 10. Okay, I also include, I've got some notepads here with different USPs. Actually, it's the same notepad. This is kind of cool. Every page has a different USP. So you tear off the first page, and the first page says free, quick, over-the-net home evaluation. You tear that page off. It says your home sold in under 120 days or I'll buy it. You tear that page off, and it says call Craig Proctor for a free, quick, over-the-phone home evaluation. You tear off that page. The next page says you get Craig plus his team for the same price as hiring a single agent. So you can get BXL to customize these. It's what I include with that particular mailing. Okay, 2 mailings left, number 11 and 12. So letter number 11 offers the free report on all the moving companies. We've compiled an extensive list of anyone and everyone you might need to contact with respect to the physical aspect of your move, whether you're moving around the corner or across the world. Moving companies, storage companies, box and carton companies, etc. Okay, and you can you call us now, call our 800 number, and we'll send you a computerized listing of all the moving companies, box companies, everything you need. All you have to do is call our special number. Okay, does that not give you an excellent reason to follow up with the prospect? Have you not created reciprocity? Isn't that a nice thing that you did? They don't have to call all the moving companies. They don't have to call the utility companies. They don't have to call all the title companies. They don't have to, search through all of the title companies or real estate attorneys. You've done that work for them. You're providing them a comprehensive list of everything they need at no cost and no obligation. Okay, finally, mailing number 12. Now, mailing number 12, I send out my pre-listing package with this mailing and a certificate for a free home evaluation. My pre-listing package is simply printouts of my PowerPoint listing presentation. Now, you can do this as well. Just pick the key parts of your PowerPoint listing presentation. Just print those out, staple them in the top left-hand corner. It's great if they can be in full color. And send that out along with your free home evaluation postcard and this letter. And now you're done. Okay, you have now successfully, over 12 mailings, done an excellent job creating reciprocity and building top-of-mind awareness. There's a pretty darn good chance that the seller is already called you to come and list their home before you even get to mailing number 12. Now, you can get everything here in our gold package by contacting our exclusive printer. You can visit her website at www.bxlprinters.com. But her special here today is she'll prepare the 500 notepads with your USPs, like I just showed you, 500 moving checklist cards. Remember, the checklist cards are what the prospect's going to get in their very first mailing. 500 moving checklist file folders, okay, and 1,000 postcards. If you bought it separately, it's over $1,000. She can put it all together for $790. Okay, so a little bit of a plug for my printer. She does an excellent job, and you'll know with confidence that your materials will look identical to my materials. All the templates are made. Can you do this yourself? Yeah, I guess you can, but there's a pretty good chance that your printer may not lay it out exactly the way that we've got it laid out. Plus, Danielle does thousands and thousands of these, so the templates are already created. It may cost you more money to get your local printer to do it anyway. For example, this is a pretty good price here, 5,000 postcards per month, $199. It's a pretty good deal. But check it out for yourself. I've got no horse in this race, so whether you use Danielle or not doesn't really, not going to really change my life. But, it might be the easiest way for you to get all this implemented. Okay, now the newsletter. 500 free 2-page newsletters. When you order 5 months of personalized MarketWatch newsletters, receive 500 copies. The 6th issue is absolutely free. So again, just call her up. See what you can do for you. bxlprinters.com. You can see color examples of the newsletters, the postcards, the gold plan mailings. Everything is right there for you. Okay, so what have I done here now? I have gone back. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Adrian. Okay, so let's go over to our wonderful operator, Andrea. And Andrea, we're going to take some questions. I see we've got quite a few members still with us here today. So we're going to take some questions, and there's many different ways that our members can ask their questions, and maybe you can just explain how this is going to work.
Yes, sir. We already have quite a few questions in the chat, but we're going to take audio questions first. So if you have a mic on your computer, a working mic, or you're on the phone, you can press the hand icon on your control panel, and we already have a couple people doing that and getting in our queue for audio. We'll give you a few moments. If we can't hear you, we'll assume your mic is not working, and we'll move on.
Okay, so also a reminder while we're waiting for our first questions, we've got our role play webinar that you should all be on, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I hope everyone understands there's a direct correlation with those of you that attend, make an effort to attend that role play session every Thursday, and those of you that are the best at follow-up. Okay, everything we've talked about here regarding follow-up with future prospects is important, but I'm going to repeat this again. Nothing replaces the personal one-on-one calls, phone calls that you make with prospects. Everything we've talked about today is an overlay to that. It's in addition to making the phone calls, but I don't want you to think that, well, I can send out the newsletter and the goal plan mailings and that'll take care of everything, and I never have to call a prospect again. Okay, so we know who's attending these calls, and we're keeping careful track, or these webinars, rather. The role play webinar, okay, the role play lead conversion webinar at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, as always. And then Friday, feel free to please send us your ads, whether they're working or they're not working. We can help you improve response. That's Friday at 11 a.m. for our Ad Clinic webinar. All right, Andrea, let's go back to you, and we'll take our questions.
Yes, sir. Our first guest today is Michael Smertz. Your mic is open.
Hey, Craig.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Hey, I've got a question about the letters towards the beginning, like letters 1 through 5 or 6, before you start getting into the real USP. Do you put your USP, like your guarantee, with your website link for the landing page and so forth, like, you're going to guarantee their house to sell at the bottom of those first letters that you send out?
Absolutely. You can place your unique selling proposition on everything. Here's what I want you to think about. With our less branded approach, the reason we're doing that is we find that it's the most effective, easiest, really least expensive way to generate leads. Once we get the prospect to raise their hands, though, everything from that point forward should be branded. Like there's no purpose in hiding any of your unique benefits once you've got the prospect to raise their hand. So the short answer to your question is absolutely on everything you send out after the prospects raise their hand, you want to have your unique selling proposition plastered on everything that you do.
Yeah, the reason I was asking that is because I had noticed some activity out there on the Success website for those landing pages, but no one's signing up. You get the clicks, but no one's signing up. So I don't know if that's indicative that it's too early yet, for them to order that report.
These are pages that are promoting your unique selling proposition?
Right.
Okay, what does the page offer?
Well, it offers to get just like what I said in the bottom of the letter, is to say, in order to get a free report, to understand the guarantee, the home sold guarantee. And so I've got the website that goes, there, and it ends up in the landing page on Success website, where you've got your, USP on the top of it with my picture, and for them to order a report to see how this, program works.
What we want to pay attention to is how many visitors you have, and then, how many people ultimately are raising their hand, and what the conversion is on this page. Some of our members are basically not offering the report. They're going to a landing page that says, the landing page basically says, well, give me your name and your contact information, and I'll call you back and explain how it works. So I'm glad to see that you're offering a free report, because more people would be obviously willing to request a free report that explains how it works, rather than raising their hand and asking for a real estate agent to call them to explain it to them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but
right.
Don't be afraid to test different things, because this is all about trying to get maximum response. And I've been to Holland, Michigan before.
Have you?
Yeah, I have been there before, and I was out in a boat, I think, out in Lake Michigan there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a big boating area down here, or over here. All right, well, thank you, Craig.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the webinar today. We'll talk to you soon. Let's see who's next.
Our next guest is Jana Classing. Your mic is open.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good. You know, that newsletter, I mean, who all should we be sending that to? I know we should be sending it to future prospects.
Well, you know, it wouldn't hurt to send it to everybody. I mean, you could send it to your sphere of influence. See, one of the complaints I hear when people are, new with the system is, well, Craig, if I print up 500 newsletters, I might not have 500 prospects to send this thing out to. But
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt to send it out to your sphere of influence, past clients.
Mm-hmm.
You could send it out even to, a certain neighborhood, maybe the neighborhood where you live in, and until you get your database built up to the point where you have, 500 plus prospects to send it to.
And you're talking about sitting down and addressing 500 people?
That would be the ultimate. Look, I had an assistant that I was paying anyway, and I had her doing that in between things. She would hand address them. Look, if you're sending out a lot, there's nothing wrong with putting a label on it. In a perfect world, like if you think of when you go to your mailbox, in a perfect world, what are you more likely to open? Something that if I hand addressed it to you with a live stamp, rather than what most people do, which is you stick a label on and you throw it through a postage meter machine. So, I got to be honest, most of our members do the latter because they don't have the personnel around to hand address things.
Okay. So you just print out those stickers.
Yep. You print out a label, stick it on. Yep. That's all you need to do.
And then you put it in an envelope? You
yes.
Fold it up and put it in an envelope? Yeah,
and I'm not sure how it works in the U.S. You might be able to print it and dish-on it and have it mailed without an envelope. It kind of looks more like junk mail if I think we do it. If you do it that way, you have to check into what you can and can't do. I know here in Canada we can't. We have to stick it in an envelope.
Mm-hmm.
I always like that anyway.
It's just the time element. It just seems like it would take an enormous amount of time folding up, putting it in an envelope. If you don't have the personnel.
You're absolutely right, and I think that's what sets us apart. This is why it always worked so well for me, because if you take a look at 100% of the real estate agents here in Toronto, how many of the 100% of those agents even followed up with future prospects? Like, did anything? Not very many. How many of them were calling back, like had a contact management system where they're calling back with these prospects and following up with them for 2 or 3 months, taking the bother of creating a newsletter and hand addressing a live number 10 envelope, putting a real stamp on it, and then for the real golden prospects, sending out those weekly goal plan letters? Mm-hmm. That's what I liked about it, and that's what you might not like about it is it's the complexity of it. But the complexity of it is really what set me apart because I knew that very few people I compete with would do that. I'll give you another example. You know how some of the prospects you're following up with are really, really hard to get a hold of? I always kind of like that because I figured that the rest of the agents that I compete with wouldn't make the effort that I'm making to try somebody 6 or 7 or 8 times until they actually reach them. It's the people that are the easiest to get a hold of for you that are also the easiest for our competitors to reach. So I guess it depends on how you look at it, but the more of these steps you take with the follow-up, the more conversion, the more opportunity you're going to have, especially when we think about the fact that, the real truth in real estate is the vast majority of buyers and sellers we come into contact with represent future business. Mm-hmm. Like if it wasn't true, we wouldn't even be doing this webinar here today. If 90% of the people we talked to said, oh, come on over and get me, I'm ready to buy today, I'm ready to list my home today, think of how easy the real estate business would be. But it's the flip opposite. 80 to 90% of the people we talk to say, call me in 2 months or call me in 6 months. And that's where the rot set in, at least for me, because I had good intentions, but I didn't have enough of this automated. So it solely relied on me trying to call the right people at the right time. I was calling the right people at the wrong time. but I wasn't calling the right people at the right time. So the more things that we can do to add complexity to our follow-up, in addition to those phone calls, the more you're kind of setting the bar higher, so your competitors throw up their arms and just can't compete with you. And that's what today's webinar was really about. It's not. I don't want to give anyone the wrong idea that you shouldn't be calling these people, because nothing's better than those personal phone calls. But if you forget to call somebody, you get busy doing something else. Isn't it nice to know at least the newsletter is going out, at least the Market Watch letters are going out, sort of as a safety net? So if you and I call people at the wrong time or forget to call, we mess up, at least on the strength of the marketing that we do, maybe even if we mess up, they'll call us when they're ready.
Okay. Well, thanks. Good webinar.
All right, but start with this. Start with baby steps. I'd rather you get started by doing something than waiting and saying, well, look, if I can't do this perfectly, there's no use doing anything at all. I'd rather you start with labels and run it through a postage meter and at least have a good newsletter, rather than to say, well, if I can't do it exactly the way Craig described it, I'm not going to do anything at all. Follow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do you do elephant?
What about delivery? I mean, because there's kids around here and just having them like hanging on a door.
Yeah, you could try all that. Nothing beats the post office, though. And if you're worried about cost, like I said earlier, get your affiliates to pay for all this. I never paid for my newsletter. I never paid a cent for my newsletter. If you take a look at the examples on the coaching website, I had my real estate attorney and my lender split the cost of printing and distributing this.
Okay.
Okay, because do they win? If your business doubled this year, would your lender win? Would your title company, would your affiliates win? Sure they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think they should contribute. They just want us to go out and double our business and, take the rewards, but, nobody really wants to contribute. And if you don't ask, you don't get. I had to ask a couple different lenders before I had a lender that was that made sense with. So, that person became my lender of choice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, well, good luck. Remember, follow-up is the key here. Generating the leads is the easy part. The more complexity, the more steps you have in place, the better job you'll do with the bulk of the opportunity, which are the people that are going to buy or sell, but in the next couple months, not right today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Okay, well, thanks. Good webinar.
Okay, hopefully. I hope I didn't discourage you with all these steps, but, the better it is, your follow-up, the more money you're going to make in this business. All right, let's see who's next.
Yes, sir. The next question we have is in the form of chat, and it was actually from a few members. There seems to be a little confusion on how they modify the letters and change it so their information is on there. They're finding when they print them out, they're in PDFs. Can you go into that for a moment?
Yeah, I think these things are in Word. We don't have Adrian on the call here, the webinar with us here. But I believe there's an easy way for you just to drop your information into these letters. I think it's probably under the file library. But I'll tell you what, if you have trouble finding it, just talk to your coach, or you can email Adrian at our office, and he can explain to you how you can electronically just drop your information in rather than have to type out everything again.
Okay, our next question from Troy. Do you have a gold plan for buyers?
I do not, and let me explain why. With buyers, there's really, as long as they're going to buy a house, Troy, in the next year, there's no real downside to meeting with the buyer and getting the buyer signed up to a one-year buyer agency agreement. And the listings, the information that we would send them as new homes come on the market that match their criteria would actually be the stick program. That's how we would keep in touch with the buyers. I have no problem if the buyer says, I'm not going to buy for 9 months, getting together with them and sign them to a buyer agency agreement. However, see if you agree with this. That's not true with sellers. I do not want to meet with a person that's not going to list their home for 9 months, because no matter what I do or say, they're not going to sign the listing agreement because they have a real reason for not doing that. And there's a danger, you probably remember at the Super Conference I talked about the real danger of meeting with sellers that aren't ready to act. If you meet with a seller today that's not ready to list their home for 6 months or 9 months down the road, by the time they're ready to list, they figure, well, they've met us, been there, done that. They interview a couple of other agents. How much of what we say today are they going to retain 6 months down the road? Not much. So the gold plan system that we discussed today is for sellers for that exact reason. With sellers, you can be too early. You do not want to meet with a seller too early. With a buyer, heck, I don't care if they're ready to buy any time in the next year. Meet them, sign them up to an exclusive buyer agency agreement. If they buy during that year, you're going to get compensated. Let's see who's next.
The next question comes from Troy again. It's follow-up. Could the gold plan be effective using email for the letters and special reports?
Yes, you can. You could send email, but I have problems with email and the fact that you can't guarantee deliverability. I mean, that's the problem. And we all know that, right? We get so many emails. Half the stuff we send never gets delivered. It goes into spam. Look, here's my point. Who are we sending the gold letters to? The golden prospects. Who's a golden prospect? Somebody that's upfront and overt with their intentions. We're not sending this to the guy that says, I don't know, I might sell my home later this year. We're only sending the gold plan letters to the seller that says, I absolutely am going to be selling my house. They're very upfront and vocal. They're telling you why they need to sell and exactly when they need to sell. So let's say it costs you $1 a letter to mail these 12 letters out. Would you spend $12 on a guy like that said, yeah, I've been transferred. I've got to be in Los Angeles in 6 months. I'm listing my house absolutely for sure in 2 months. Yeah, you could email this stuff to him. He may or may not get it. And other agents that he runs into may be also emailing him information. But how many other realtors are hand addressing a personal letter to him every single week? Nobody except you. So, yeah, we can get lazy with this. We can cut corners. We can email it. We can, we can basically neuter this thing. All I'm saying is I didn't do it that way. Could I have emailed it? Yup. Could I have run all this stuff through postage meters, stuck on a label? Yeah, you can do all that. I'd rather you do that. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather you do that than absolutely nothing at all. But the ultimate method of doing this is what I'm describing. Hand-addressed envelope, live stamp, and it's an actual letter that you're writing to the seller prospect with your signature on. And this isn't going out to everybody. If you talk to 100 prospects, how many of the 100 would fit into the category that we're talking about here today, where they say, hey, I'm glad you called. I'm absolutely going to be listing my home in 3 months. And here's why. They're not hiding their motivations. They're not beating around the bush like the 90% that we talk to that say, I don't know, we're not sure, we're just thinking about it, we saw your information. Those folks aren't golden prospects. A golden prospect, to be clear, is somebody that is very upfront and vocal with their intentions, with their motivation, with their timing. They're not making any bones about it. They're telling you exactly what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. Now, the problem I had, and likely the problem you folks have, is you are speaking every once in a while to prospects like that, but you're treating them the same as all the other prospects you follow up. You're not differentiating them. You're not saying, okay, this guy's a golden prospect. I need to do special things for, the 10% that fit into that category. I was treating all my future prospects exactly the same, and then guess what would happen? 2 or 3 months down the road, I'd look at the hot sheets, recognize the address or the prospect's name on the hot sheets, and get that sick feeling in my stomach. We've all had it, right? Oh, that guy. I remember talking to him a couple months ago. And guess what? He was true to his word. He told me he was being transferred to Los Angeles. He said he's going to be listing his house in 3 months, and guess what? He did. Is it the prospect's fault? Nope. It's our fault because we didn't have an effective, really thorough follow-up system that's above and beyond any of our competitors. So, yeah, we can cut corners. We can cut this all the way down to we don't do anything at all with this information. I mean, let's at least start with let's get a newsletter. How about just a newsletter once a month? And I've written them all. All you have to do is knock them off and send them out and get your affiliates to pay for them. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to do anything, but still some of you won't do that. And then on top of that, we're saying now for the real golden prospects, the prospect that's basically coming through the phone and banging you on the head saying, hello, I am absolutely 1,000% going to list my home. And I'm going to do it in 6 weeks, or I'm going to do it in 3 months, and here's why I 100% have to sell my home. I'm going through a divorce. I bought new construction. They've got a very real reason, and they don't mind sharing that with you. All I'm saying, for those guys, doesn't it make sense that you and I go the extra mile and hand address some form letters, make them kind of not look like a form letter because everybody else is doing that, not use email? When's the last time you actually got a letter from somebody that was hand-addressed with valuable information that gave you the perception, this insurance broker, this car salesman, this whoever kind of is making an effort to communicate with me. I have a feeling that they might care about me. That's what today's webinar is all about. Let's see who's next.
Yes, sir. This question comes from Ricardo. Can you please give clarification on how many hotlines we need in order to run this system properly?
Well, you don't need any hotlines, but you should have at least one, and ideally you'll have two, because there's two types of advertising that I teach you, right? I teach you less branded advertising, and I teach you branded advertising. So just like the websites, you should have a less branded website and a less branded hotline, and a branded website and a branded hotline. And they'll give you free trials on both. Let's see who's next.
Yes, sir. Our next question comes from Carlos Tovar. How can I get the whole follow-up letter system without using the printer company?
Well, you can just print them off the website. I'm not saying you have to use my printer. I'm just saying if you're, this way, you call the printer and she can print up everything that I use, but with your contact information on it. But you're not enslaved to use my. You can print off all the gold plan letters right from the coaching website, and you can send them out your however you want to send them out. I mean, the gold plan letters don't require a printer. You're sending them. You're printing them yourself. The Market Watch newsletter, well, you're going to print those because hopefully you're going to be eventually sending out hundreds or thousands of them. Let's see who's next.
Our next question comes from Sharon. In the letters, instead of we, can I use I because it's only myself?
Absolutely. The only reason we're using we is because I have a team. Now, if you have a team, you use we. If you're a solo agent like I used to be, you're going to use I. So there'll be a little bit of customization.
Okay. Follow-up from Sharon. In the letter, in the moving company letter, can I also try offering a storage company?
Absolutely. Great idea. Offer to send them, a place where they can get boxes and packaging, like anything that makes sense to somebody that's going to be moving would be valuable.
Okay. We have another from Carlos Tovar. Can you tell me the difference when to use Gold Plan 1 and Gold Plan 2?
Yes. The only difference, that's a very good question. Maybe I wasn't clear on that. The difference between Gold Plan 1 and Gold Plan 2 are the intervals of the mailing. It's exactly the same. Gold Plan 1 is for a seller prospect that's going to be listing their home in 3 months or less. The 12 letters go out every week, which spans 12 weeks is 3 months, right? If you've got a seller, a future Gold Plan seller that's 6 months out, you're going to activate on your contact management system, you're going to activate GP2, which stands for Gold Plan 2. The same exact letters, but they're spaced out every other week. Somebody that's going to be listing their home in 6 months certainly doesn't want to get a letter from you every single week, right? So it's the Gold Plan 1 and 2, the only difference is the timing, the intervals of the mailings. Follow-up is the Achilles heel. Generating leads is easy. Everyone with us on the webinar here today has experienced that sick feeling that I'm describing in your stomach when you've lost business that you know you probably shouldn't have lost because you lack a thorough, effective follow-up system. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you to do what I did so successfully for years, because all the templates are created. You don't have to have a creative bone in your body. All you got to do is do this. If you want to get started by sticking on labels and running this stuff through a postage meter, hey, I'd rather you do that than nothing at all. But in a perfect world, everything should be hand-addressed, real live stamp. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, sir. We have a follow-up from Michael Smertz. Your mic is open again.
Michael?
Hey, Craig, it's Michael again. Just a question about the newsletter. Does the content of it change every month?
Yes. I created 12 of them with the idea that if you've got a prospect that doesn't do anything for 13 months, Michael, by the time they 13 months rolls around, you're sending them, edition 1. They're probably not going to remember or notice.
Okay. So every month is different.
Every month is different. And the idea of the newsletter, if you've taken the time to look at any issues of the newsletter, each one offers different direct response, different information. I mean, basically what we're trying to do here, Michael, is what would be better than getting a prospect in Holland, Michigan to raise their hand once is to get them to raise their hand a second or third time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that I'm in Holland, Michigan today. I'm looking through the local paper. I'm on Craigslist or whatever. I respond to one of your ads, and now I've fallen into your marketing net. Okay, I'm in your database. And you call me up and I say, I'm probably going to do something in the next 6 months. I'm not a golden prospect. I'm not jumping up and down saying, hey, I'm moving from Holland to Orlando, Florida in 3 months. So I'm not getting the goal plan, but it's somebody that you want to keep in touch with. So you send me the monthly newsletter. Every month I'm going to get this. We have either a 2-page or a 4-page newsletter, but it offers information about what's going on in Holland. Well, I'm kind of thinking of selling my house. That's interesting. And I see an article that says how to avoid 11 costly home inspection pitfalls before I list my home. It gives me information. Maybe the next month it talks about 27 tips to price and prepare your home. How to avoid costly home seller mistakes. Maybe it offers me a list of area home sales in any neighborhood in Holland, Michigan. So, the fact that they're in the market, they're going to be interested in this. I don't know. What if you purchased recently, Michael? Have you bought a car in the last year or two?
It's been a while, but
I'm just trying to give you a real world example. If you're in the market to buy a laptop or a computer or a big screen television, and I got you to respond, and I could follow up with you before you purchased, with in getting you to raise your hand over and over again. What it does is, like, people are interested in what they're interested in. I'm sure you have a hobby of some kind, right? What would be your hobby?
Shooting guns.
Okay, well then, if anything came in the mail about that, it might not be the most practical thing for you to pick up and read right away, right?
Yeah.
You might have bills there, you might have other things, but if something came in the mail, okay, and it was about your hobby, something you're interested in, it might not be the most practical thing you read, but you're probably going to grab that the first chance you have and read it. Well, if somebody's in the market to buy or sell a home, their reticular activator is tuned right into that. Anything that you send them regarding what's going on in Holland, Michigan, regarding selling a home or buying a home, hopes are they're going to read that and they're going to respond. And now you've got the prospect to respond a second time, a third time. Well, every time they respond to the newsletter, call your hotline or visit your website and request more information, it gives you another opportunity to follow up with them, build a relationship with them, qualify them again, and create reciprocity, create really what we call top-of-mind awareness. So when they think of real estate in Holland, Michigan, you're the first guy they think of.
Yeah, I guess what I was wondering about is there's quite a significant savings of 1,000 newsletters versus 250. And if you ordered 1,000 of them, are you committed to doing that every single month, or could you use that 1,000 over a period of 6 months or 3 months? That type of thing. Are they targeted with the actual month? January, February,
I don't think
March.
so. I think you could have her print it with Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. But give them a call. Ask them those questions. Okay. And like I said to one of our members earlier today, you could send this out to your farm area. I mean, it's not really intended to be a lead generator, although it can be used that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your sphere of influence, your past clients. If you take a look at what's on the screen right now, you're thinking of selling your home in Holland, Michigan, and you get this. Where to turn when your home doesn't sell, how to sell your home without an agent, revealed 7 costly mistakes home sellers make when selling their homes. Warning, 10 questions to ask before you hire a real estate agent. And the newsletter is really chock full of direct response hooks to get this prospect that you've already got in your database to raise their hand and call you a second or third time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck with it, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anybody else, Andrea, before we wrap it up?
Yes, sir. We have a beta. Do you send the monthly newsletter together with the cover letter or not?
Yes, you want to put a cover letter on. Remember, these newsletters are going to be printed in bulk. Okay, so you want to send out a cover letter. There's a cover letter right there. And I've given you examples of the cover letter. Now, the cover letters, you can, just print these right off, right out of your contact management system. So it's going to say, Dear Susan, okay, her address and everything on there. So you're going to personalize. This gives you the ability to personalize the mailing. The newsletter itself that you just showed, Andrea, is not personalized, but the letter that goes with it, the cover letter, is. Again, I hope I haven't discouraged you. This really isn't that difficult. It's way more difficult than doing nothing at all, which, of course, is what your competitors are doing. All you have to do is print off. You can print off who it is that you want to send this to, get your affiliates to pay for the actual mailings and the printing of everything, and hopefully you've got at least a part-time assistant that can help you get this out. This is where the money is. The money is in the 90% of prospects that represent future business. That's the difference between being just a hunter and a farmer. A hunter is out there looking for food to eat right now. Most real estate agents are hunters. I want food today. So they're only spending their time working with people that want to buy or sell today. But 90% of real estate prospects represent future business. If you're the farmer and you're harvesting these future prospects, you're planting seeds for tomorrow, guess what happens? A couple months down the road, not only are you being the hunter and you're attracting the now business and doing business with them, but every single day you're going to have future prospects maturing. And that's where the opportunity is. So I hope everyone, gets out of this webinar that message that if you really want to do well, you got to plug the holes in your boat. Okay, and the holes that most agents have is with future prospects. Start with a newsletter. They're printed. They're ready to go for you. I've done all the work. You send out a cover letter, which you can print off. You don't have to sign it if you don't want to. I'd rather you, even run these through a postage meter and stick labels on them to get started rather than doing nothing at all. And for your golden prospects, the 1 in 10 or 2 out of 10, they're jumping up and down, overtly telling you that they're going to be selling their home, when they're going to be listing it, and exactly why they're listing it. To not do something special for them, it's just a huge mistake. And that's the mistake I made earlier in my career. I treated all future prospects the same, and it cost me a lot of money. So that's what today's webinar was about. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Take care, and that concludes today's webinar.